Hi guys, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer channel. I have 5 new stories for you today. Listen till the end to hear my insights. Let's go to the first story, about a jealous sister. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so this is a doozy, so please strap in and bear with me. For context here, my sister is 30, I am 22. 10 years ago, my sister had a miscarriage. Obviously, it was devastating for her and the whole family, and it took her a couple of years to fully heal from it. We're still not 100% sure why it happened. But it was a one-off, and since, she's had 3 very healthy, beautiful children, including a set of twins. So here's the thing. My sister and I don't really get on. She resented me as a kid because she had to share Mom's attention, and because she thought Mom left her dad to be with mine. Never really grew out of that resentment, and she was pretty much my biggest bully throughout childhood and my teenage years. One thing she absolutely cannot stand is when Mom and I do things without her, or when Mom pays more attention to me than to her. When this happens, she calls Mom and says she's feeling really upset about the miscarriage, and without fail, Mom goes running. This includes a trip to Paris I took Mom on for her birthday earlier this year, which she cut short because Sister said she needed her. Also includes when I had a manic episode so bad I was hospitalized, and Sister managed to need Mom every time she was planning to visit me, and so she never did. Note, these times when Mom is spending more time with me than her are the only time Sister brings up what happened, and certainly the only time she still gets upset about it. So recently I was sick. Like, don't leave the bathroom for days, can only keep water down sick. Didn't manage to get the doctor, but I think it was norovirus. It lasted about a week. Mom was popping in daily on her way home from work to check on me and stuff. On the last day of being seriously unwell, when I felt I could eat again, Mom offered to make me some soup while she was there, which I accepted. She was halfway through making it when Sister called her saying she was upset about the miscarriage, and she told me I'd have to finish it myself because she had to go. I didn't say anything to Mom, and I finished making the soup. But I sent my sister a text saying she really needs to stop bringing it up for attention because she can't bear me getting some instead. I guess she told Mom and her dad because I'm hearing from all sides what a horrible, insensitive, selfish bastard I am, and how dare I say that to her. I understand she may still be traumatized. I just think it's really weird how that trauma solely manifests whenever I'm getting attention and she isn't. Am I the idiot? In my opinion, OP is not an idiot. About 25% of pregnancies end in miscarriage in the first 4 weeks, when you might otherwise not even know you're pregnant. They're not an unusual thing. While they are sad, OP's sister is totally doing it for attention. I'm surprised OP's mom falls for it. I think OP can do nothing in this situation. OP's sister is very insecure in her relationship with Mother, that she doesn't think she is capable of getting her attention. She is very manipulative. But I don't think OP's mother will ever see it, because she feels sorry for OP's sister, not only because of the miscarriage. OP's mom left OP's sister's dad, her first family, for OP's dad. So the sister is the poor child in her eyes, and Mom 100% feels guilty for ruining first family. That's why she always runs to OP's sister when she is called. I don't think that will ever change, because that's the guilt OP's mom is feeling. Do you agree with me, guys? Had my baby girl 7 years ago, and her mother and I split up literally weeks after she was conceived. Her mom then fell pregnant soon after giving birth to my girl, Isla, and had another daughter, Marianne. There's a 13-month difference between them, and the 2 little shites are best friends. I've been a single dad ever since. When Isla was born, I fell in love despite never wanting to be a father, and I fell into the role and everything it entails. Her mom is still with Marianne's dad, and so far, co-parenting between all of us is actually fine. We work well. He loves Isla and is an extremely good step-parent to her. I know there's genuine love there, and he has tattoos of both girls' names. She speaks very positively of him, etc. I'm usually invited to birthdays, barbecues. I don't always go, as we all like our space, but there's no bad blood. My problem is this. I'm a broke-ass dude, and my life savings literally go into my daughter. I have saved up for the last 2 years to take my kid to London, as she's freaking obsessed, and I've saved enough that we are staying in a fancy hotel, and I've already bought and paid for tickets to aquariums, theme parks, planned our days, etc. Her mom and stepdad have known about this trip too, since last year when I finally checked out on tickets, etc., and they were nothing but supportive, and stepdad even got Isla doing small chores so he can give her stupid amounts of pocket money for the trip. I'm very grateful for them. However, kid number two's grandma, who has always hated me, recently saw me when I dropped Isla off and started berating me, saying I'm a useless deadbeat because I'm taking Isla and not Isla's sister, and that if her son can include Isla on family holidays like Disney World, there's no reason I can't take Isla's sister on a huge trip like London. She said all Isla ever does is talk about this trip these days, and her sister is really sad that she can't go. I told her that Isla was my kid, and that as much as I appreciated her stepfather, he was married to Isla's mom, and as such, they're a family unit. My only family is my daughter, and that's that. At night, I cried about it, because I do feel like an ass and a failure. If I had more money, I'd take the kid in a heartbeat. I could maybe stretch to being able to afford her if I cancel a boatload of our planned days out. But she's not mine. My kid is a priority. I want her to see London as she's dreamed. My ex and her dude are totally cool with it, and they're honestly good as gold. They've not been asking at all or made any remarks about any type of unfairness. But I do feel bad. Am I the idiot here? I don't think OP is an idiot. He told himself that if he could afford, he would take the other girl as well. I also think he should explain to his ex and her husband that he would love to take the other girl, but he just can't afford it. Maybe they would decide to chip in so sisters can go together. I own my own business, and one of my rules is that my employees have to either call me sir or use my last name. They are not allowed to call me by my first name. I'm not old by any means, but this was always the rule when I was coming up, and I think it's a good rule, especially since a lot of people in the workforce today don't know how to behave and take advantage of the freedoms they are given. My mother and stepfather came to me recently and asked me if I could find work for my stepfather. I usually don't hire family or friends. It is asking for trouble in my opinion, but I made an exception this time because of their financial situation. I did mention my rule to him when he had orientation, but either he wasn't paying attention or decided not to follow it and ended up calling me by my first name. That didn't bother me because sometimes new employees make mistakes. I politely pulled him aside and reminded him of the rule. He said he understood and it wouldn't happen again, except it did. I gave him another polite reminder, but that didn't work either. That is when I gave him a warning. That still didn't work. So I had a meeting with him and told him point blank that this was becoming a problem, and if he couldn't follow my workplace rules, I would have to fire him. We had an argument about this. He feels disrespected by me since he is older and my stepfather, and doesn't think I should enforce the rule in his case. I told him tough luck, but that's how it goes. I don't make exceptions. The rules are the rules, and they apply to everyone who works for me. If my wife worked for me, she would follow the same rules. If one of my children did, the story would be the same. As a little backstory, this previously was my dad's business, and before that, my granddad's. When I was in a junior position, I had to follow the rule with them, so I have gone through it all myself. I'm not asking anyone to do something I wouldn't do. He told my mother about our conversation, and she begged me to be more understanding and show him mercy. Her view is that he is an older man with a lot of pride, and I humiliated him. She thinks it wouldn't hurt to make an exception this one time, but I strongly disagree. If I make an exception for him, the rule loses its meaning, and I would be playing favorites. I told her there would be no exceptions, and financial difficulties or not, if he makes the mistake again, he will be fired. I discussed this with my wife too, and she sided with my mother. She thinks I am being too much of an authoritarian, possibly to both my stepfather and my employees, but I disagree with her. I treat them fairly and have never received a complaint by anyone who has worked for me. Everything I've done seems fair to me, but my family thinks I am the a-hole. Honestly, guys, I think OP is a little bit of an idiot. I just find these super strict rules strange. I get that he had to call his dad and his granddad sir because he was younger than them. In this case, yes, I think it's a little bit disrespectful and showing his power. His stepdad is older than him, and calling his stepson sir is a little bit weird. My sister-in-law is married to my husband's brother. 7 years ago, his first wife died in a car accident, leaving behind 3 young girls. 2 years after that, he met my now sister-in-law. She is one of the sweetest women I've ever met. I was just recently married to my husband when we met and moved to his hometown, and she took me under her wing and integrated me into her friend group and made me feel very comfortable. She stepped up to raise the 3 girls, who were all under 4 when their mother passed, and she is a stay-at-home mom. She has infertility issues and can't conceive. My brother-in-law always seemed like a decent guy. I never got the impression he was a gimme person. Last weekend, my friend, Tony, and I were out to brunch because he's been abroad for a year. For context, Tony is gay. We were talking and catching up, and all of a sudden, his face lit up and he told me he had to tell me something that happened a few months ago that he wanted to tell me about but wanted to wait until we were in person to chat. He went on to say that his other friend from our city told him he was hooking up with a married man and that he was looking for a threesome partner and invited Tony as they were going on a vacation to the country Tony was studying in. He asked to see his face, and when his friend showed him the pictures, he started screaming because he thought it was my husband at first, until he started looking closer and realized it wasn't him, but must be a relative of my husband's. He went into my Instagram and confirmed it was my brother-in-law. He wanted me to know he turned it down, but that my brother-in-law was cheating. It all aligned because I remember my brother-in-law going on vacation to his country a few months ago for business. I asked for Tony's friend's number and he gave it to me. Me and his friend spoke and he told me that my brother-in-law has been cheating on my sister-in-law for years with multiple men and women. He sent me texts of my brother-in-law, video recordings showing it came from his number, of him saying how he hated my sister-in-law but only was with her so she could raise the kids. He only got with her because she's very responsible and motherly and she can't have kids of her own, so he's actually doing her the favor of being a mom since she could never do that, and that they're both using each other for something, so he's not a bad person. I was sick to my stomach. I told my husband about everything, and he was as shocked as I was. He kept focusing on the fact that his brother was gay, rather than the cheating and the using. But he told me that I needed to mind my business, and that if I love my nieces, I would keep my mouth shut. That all they've known for the past 5 years is my sister-in-law, and they all call her mom, and tearing that apart because of business that has nothing to do with me makes me as bad as my brother-in-law. I told my husband that he disgusts me and that my sister-in-law is in her early 30s, has a well-paying degree, and I'm sure she could go find a man that truly loves her rather than being used to raise someone else's kids as they have threesomes and orgies with half the city. My husband is saying I should butt out, but I can't stop thinking that I should tell my sister-in-law. I think every person has a right to know who he is living with, and then can make a decision to leave or to stay. In my opinion, OP should tell sister-in-law the truth. And also, she needs to get checked for STDs as soon as possible. This is not only about the relationship, it's also about her health. I'm very surprised OP's husband is okay with this. I'm 15 years old. I have a stepsister who is a couple years older than me, and she is really seriously disabled. I'm not sure what's wrong with her because no one ever wants to discuss it with me, but she's nonverbal, breaks her bones a lot, and has severe epilepsy, and will have many fitting episodes. She also doesn't understand stuff. That's probably the easiest way to put it. She's just a human body with nothing inside. She's my stepmom's daughter. My stepmom married my dad 3 years ago, and they dated only for a year before that. I don't know my stepmom very well, and I don't really get on with her. We are respectful of each other, but I'm basically living with strangers because she's so busy with her daughter and my dad. I am always on my own, and I used to hate it, but I'm used to it now. Ever since they moved in to live with us, life changed drastically for me because all the care now revolves around my stepsister. That's fine, I get it, but both my stepmom and my dad ask me to do things for my stepsister that I don't want to do, and I resent doing. Stuff like staying at home when I want to go to the mall with my friends. They're disappointed that I don't get her anything for her birthday with my very limited funds, etc. My own mom passed away when I was small, so I can't go and stay anywhere else. And all in all, I'm just a lot more angry than I used to be because they seem really disappointed whenever I say I don't want to do anything for her. Even stuff like feeding her. Like, I don't want to sit there feeding her banana pudding and wiping her drool. I didn't ask for this. Anyway, she recently fell a few days ago and had a seizure for 8 minutes. She was taken to hospital and the doctors want to keep her in and look after her. I don't want to go and visit her. I remember seeing my mom in hospital before she died, and I just hate hospitals, and I sort of hate my stepsister, and I just don't want to go and visit someone who doesn't even know I'm there. My stepmom is really upset with me, and so is my dad. They haven't yelled at me or anything, but they are both being super cold towards me because I don't want to visit. My grandma, who lives in Canada, called me up out of the blue and told me it was okay and I don't need to force myself to go to the hospital, so I'm assuming my dad has told her I'm refusing to go. He keeps pleading with me, but I keep telling him I'm not doing it. I told him hospitals remind me of mom, and he got even more upset and said my stepsister might die and I need to stop being so selfish towards my stepmom. I just want to know what people think, because half of my friends think I should go, and the other half think I'm justified in saying no. I think OP shouldn't go if she doesn't want to. She also should tell her dad how she feels. Parents see how mean and lacking in empathy the daughter, OP, is, ignoring that OP has lost her own mom in a traumatic way and has her own needs. Those needs are so far on the back burner, it might as well not even be on the stove at all.